Hey everybody, it's been a while. I'm Kathy Hester and welcome to my kitchen. What we're going to do today is I've been getting some different produce deliveries, and this is not a sponsored live or anything like that. I just wanted to unbox this one, and then I'm going to unbox some of the other ones that I've been getting and kind of give you an idea. Now this one that we're going to do today is Misfits Market. That is not available everywhere, but I think it's more on the East Coast. But there are plenty of things like this. So anyhow, if you guys are actually using a service like this, I also use, a couple of different local ones. Anyhow, the Misfits Market is kind of unique in that all of their produce is organic. I think this big box, including shipping / delivery, runs about $40. This is their in-between size, and it's pretty hefty. It's not really for like a normal family of one, unless you're super plant-based, and then you can go through some veggies. I'm sure of that. So I want to go over the top for just a minute and show you how it's packed. And it's kind of cute. They always give you a little card. Here we go. I have to look at the computer while I'm doing this. So now they're giving us a card for Caramelized ginger and Pear Parfaits. So even though this is not a vegan recipe, I can tell you right now it would be so easy to veganize. You could either use vegan butter, or you could leave out the butter and just saute the pears probably in a nonstick pan. Instead of Greek yogurt, you would obviously use vegan yogurt. You'd make sure the granola was also vegan, and you could use any sweetener of your choice. And let me see if I'm even guessing right. Yeah. So it's kind of making it a little bit different. So look how this is sealed in here really well. And look, we already see a piece of kale. They usually have, and this is still hard. They're really frozen. There's 4 ice packs in here that I keep and reuse and give to other people to reuse. So this actually comes on a regular, like either postal service or UPS truck, which is kind of interesting. At first I wasn't sure how I felt about that, but it's packed really well. You can see how thick and insulated this is. And I will say, some of the produce that I've been finding is really beautiful. So I wanted to show you that packing. So I have had this left outside for a while, and I've still found that it was pretty good. So, surprise, kale. Now also, this has been sitting in my house in this box for a couple of hours. So if things look a little bit wilty, it's probably my fault, but once I soak this and rinse this in some water, it's going to poof right back up. Kale is awesome like that. So I've got 2 big things of kale. Let's see what else we have for our mystery meal. These are things that I don't like as much. You guys already know that I am not a huge fan of cherry tomatoes. But one of the things I do, and these are grape tomatoes, so they're really pretty nice. And there's nothing wrong health-wise with eating these little tomatoes. I just don't like the way they pop in my mouth. They're just not my favorites. But they are awesome to cut in half, put in your dehydrator to make either like sun-dried tomatoes that are not sun-dried, just dried tomatoes, I guess is what you would say. And then I go ahead and take those and I put them in a spice grinder, and I grind it and make my own tomato powder. And I do that because I usually get these in CSAs. Now sometimes I will also go ahead and maybe cut them up and use them in salads, because Cheryl likes them cut up really small. Okay. I'm too short to be doing this. I'm going to have to pull this closer to me. Some fresh ginger, which is always good. And let me change to above too so you can see this a little bit better. Hi, Sandy from Alberta. I bet you don't have the house open today, do you? I think it's been like high 60s here. So look how pretty that is. Can you guys see that? So this is Misfit produce, and it looks pretty daggone perfect to me so far. The kale looks really, really good and fresh. It's very firm, so it's going to do really, really well. So, there we go. I'm back where I'm supposed to be now. And let me change camera again, or find out where I am again. There we go. So I've got some grapes. These are organic and seedless, and I think for 40 bucks, all that we're going to see is a pretty good thing. Now, I wasn't able to move the camera where you can see the whole thing at once, but we'll look overhead. So that's probably a little less than a pound of grapes. There are lots of these beautiful apples, and there are no blemishes on these. So let's see how many apples. I think there's 6 apples in here all together. What's in the magic bag? Okay, now these look a little more misfitty. Some little green peppers. And what I'm going to do with these green bell peppers, especially at this stage in the game, is unless I'm going to use them this weekend for my classes, because I'm doing 2 easy dinner classes, I will actually just go ahead and prep these, cut them up, and freeze them in a bag so I can just grab them later on. And I might even do that before the classes on Saturday and Sunday. So then we have another layer of paper that's kind of dividing all these other things. Wow! Okay, I gotta let you guys see in here again. There's a lot. a lot. So, okay, we've got beets. Looks like we've got 3 beets. 3 nice big beets. And while I guess you could say these were misfits and that maybe they're a little bit pitted at the top, they look perfect. This one even still has just a tiny bit of beet greens growing out of it, which is something I like. And you know what I've never tried? I've regrown the tops of onions. I've never tried to regrow the top of a beet. And if you guys have tried that, will you tell me if it's possible? If I don't hear anything from you, then I'm going to go ahead and try it. I think we've got those really nice cucumbers, those like baby, they look kind of like the English cucumbers, but they're a little teeny tiny. I think at Trader Joe's they call them something particular. And if you guys know what that is, tell me. Also, let me know what things that you guys have gotten in your CSAs this week. And maybe we can talk about some of the different things that you can make too. I have a cantaloupe. And there is like a little imperfection there. It does feel like it might be a little soft spot, so I should break this down fairly soon. If I don't think we're going to eat it right away, what I'm going to do is go ahead and freeze it and use it in smoothies. That's one thing I do. We've got some celery. So celery is great for going ahead and making a lot of extra bouillon. So on plantbasedinstantpot.com, I have a recipe for bouillon. And it's pretty much just onion, celery, carrot, and usually I use some parsley and or thyme. You can cook that in the slow cooker or the Instant Pot or in your stove, on top of your stove. And you just want to get it cooked well, puree it with a little bit of nutritional yeast, and you've got a really great bouillon. I freeze it in ice cube trays, and a typical cube is about 2 tablespoons. And I usually use 2 ice cubes because it's not as strong as like something like Better Than Bouillon, but it's still pretty good. Ooh, more ginger. I see ginger turmeric tea in my future. And I love baby celery. And you know, these little celery leaves, you can eat these as well. So I could cut that up in a dressing or salad, or I could put it in my bouillon too. So all that would work. Okay, let's see what we got here. Some more ginger. I've got 2 big zucchinis. And there's here, I'll show you from up here. There's just the tiniest bit of scarring. And it looks more of like from where it's been packed than anything else. It's really not bad at all. I don't think it's very misfitty, personally. We've got 4 red onions. And then I've got to figure out how I'm going to show you all of these, because it is a ton of little potatoes, like pounds of them. Let me find something to put them in really quick, because I can't hold all these little potatoes at the same time, because I have little hands. What are you guys making with your potatoes this week? I made some enchiladas. So we made an enchilada casserole with soy curls, like a green enchilada sauce. I made a layer that was mashed potato with nutritional yeast, ancho chili powder, and a little bit of salt. And if you don't eat salt, you could use a salt substitute. Goodness gracious. So this still isn't all the potatoes. There's still more. I'm going to see if I can try and get this where you can see. It's an abundance of food for sure. So the other layer I had in that casserole last night is, so we did soy curls and I reconstituted them. I mixed them with a little bit of cashew cream, and then we used a green enchilada sauce in between. This may be the most mini potatoes, and so far I'm only seeing one that looks, this one looks a little misfit, but honestly, even that, there's going to be a portion of that I can use. So let's see if we can see most of this overhead. Okay. I'm going to see if I can help you guys to see all of these things. It's a lot of food. Kind of almost a ridiculous amount of food. So again, I've got 2 bunches of kale, probably half a pound of ginger, if not a little bit more, 6 apples, 3 giant beets, a cantaloupe, probably two very small and 2 medium peppers, probably about a pound of grapes, 2 very small young celery stalks, 2 pints of organic grape tomatoes. I'm guesstimating 5-ish pounds of those, because there's a lot. There's probably more than what I would get in 1 or 2 bags. We've got 1 medium and 3 small red onions, 2 large zucchinis, and we have 8 small cucumbers that just look delectable. So what I'd like to know from you guys right now is, do you have any questions about maybe what we can make with this, or what you can make with what you have tonight at your house? Because I'm happy to help you. One of the things that I could make with this is I could make, we could do roasted beets and roasted potatoes with maybe like a ginger kale sauce, maybe sweetened up with a little bit of apple if you wanted to do that. With the beets, borscht is always a good idea. When's borscht not a good idea? I have cabbage in my fridge right now, but if you didn't have cabbage, because traditionally a borscht is like a beet potato cabbage soup that's kind of sweet and sour. So typically it has a little bit of sweetener like agave nectar or maple syrup, but you could also sweeten that with apples. You could use a little bit of apple cider vinegar to get it that sour flavor too. I just really love it, the way it's very earthy and warming. And you can make a big batch ahead of time. With the kale, we could also make like a warm kale salad. So I have some butternut squash that I got last week in this. So I could do something like roast some butternut squash, saute some of the kale with that, maybe mince up some apples to give it a little extra sweet. And then maybe do something like a warm vinaigrette. And you could do that too with just like taking some balsamic, maybe a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a pecan or two if you're able to eat nuts, or you could just chop them up and let people sprinkle them on the top. I really love the earthy flavor that the pecans give food around this time of the year. And actually I'm making a lot of pecan milk. So one way that I do that is I just take about a quarter cup of pecans, throw it in the blender with like 3 cups of water, puree it. You usually don't even need to strain it because the pecan is a softer nut even than a cashew. So in general, you don't need to do much. But if you do drink coffee or tea, try some pecan milk sweetened slightly with a little bit of maple syrup, and it's like the perfect fall drink. And I think you guys would like that. So is there any questions that any of you guys have? Because you guys are still hanging on. If not, I'm going to go off with my giant bounty and start cooking some dinner at our house. And hopefully I will be back on next week showing you some other food that I'm going to get delivered to me, okay? So have a great week. Don't forget to join my group. It's free, Vegan Recipes, Cooking with Kathy Hester. Also, I'm teaching 2 easy dinner classes this week, and there's a link that went along with the share. So go ahead and go there, and you can buy both of them for $50, and you'll save $20, or you could buy one of the classes for $35 each. Okay? So have a great day. If you have some more questions, go in the group and ask me, and I will talk to you guys soon.